can see you are from Europe, or from Africa, from Middle East, from Asia. I hope many other friends and members, but not only from our network, will join us later and during the webinar. I want to start remembering that many times we spoke about digitalization is coming, arrived, not only in standard shipments, not only for the major carriers and routes. Digitalization is in every field of logistics and shipping. The solution for our companies, for small and medium companies, is not to find shelter in what is still considered a niche. For example, Sub-Saharan Africa or project cargo and chartering. As promised during the last meeting in Muscat and previously in the clouds of the web, ALN, we want to help our members, ALN and ALN&A members, to be stronger in this digitalized market. Tracking online, electronic documents, blockchain-based platform. We can't leave it only to the major companies and carriers. And we want to help you to be digitalized, to be stronger in this market. And this is the reason I'm very happy and proud to introduce you our guest, Massimo Zaurrini, editor of the magazine Africa&Affari&Africa, Africa&Business, said in English. Massimo today is helping me to run the webinar. He's a journalist that wrote many articles and organized many meetings around the digitalization in Africa, but not only in Africa. And obviously, Alexander Varvarenko, he is founder of Varvarenko, the break bulk carrier, and founder and CEO of SHIPNEXT. SHIPNEXT is the reason of this webinar, the main reason of this webinar. First of all, because today is starting a special partnership between SHIPNEXT, Africa Logistics Network, and Airfreight Logistics Network for Africa. All ALN and ALN&A members from today will enjoy 12 months of free access to SHIPNEXT. What is it? It's a digital marketplace, a platform for matching cargo needing a ship and ships needing a cargo, and for negotiations. SHIPNEXT covers break bulk, dry bulk, wet bulk, and we can read on SHIPNEXT website also containerized cargo, and this is very interesting to understand how it can help also for containerized cargo. Shipbrokers, carriers, forwarders, and traders use SHIPNEXT to find free solution. Open fleet position, we can read on the platform. Hold freight negotiations. Search.
Now you're starting to do my presentation for me, Marcello.
Okay, so I can stop.
Yeah, you can give the floor to
explain what the SHIPNEXT is, and thanking again Alexander and Maurizio to be here. I leave the word to Massimo, not Maurizio, to Massimo. I leave him the word to start interviewing Alexander Varvarenko, explaining what he thinks about the future, about now, and how SHIPNEXT is working.
Thank you, Marcello, and good morning to everybody. Thank you for inviting me here. Alexander, before you start with your presentation, I would like to understand what moved you to imagine SHIPNEXT. I had a look on your work, and I want to listen and understand better how it works. But what moved you to?
Yeah, so, before starting in shipping, I was actually a developer. 23 years ago, I went and chose a shipping career. But before that, of course, I graduated at shipping university. But before that, I was very fascinated by IT, digitalization, whatever had to do with software development. So in the 90s, mid 90s, as a boy, as a school kid, I was making my own games and already programming. But because my parents were all, and my brother they were all in transport in general, like stevedoring and forwarding, there was nobody to drive me into digital. Maybe all our listeners today, they have also their kids, so you have to probably remain open-minded, and let your kids decide for themselves. At that moment, I was more fascinated also by economics and traveling and so on. So I chose shipping, and as I graduated and then eventually worked at different companies and founded Varamar, I understood that the most highest paid specialists that I was hiring, the chartering managers, the brokers, the logistics managers, they are doing literally routine stuff. So I had people that came into the office, literally sitting in front of their screen, just pressing the button, trying to go from one email to another the whole day. So 4,000 emails, just clicking through this takes like half a day at least. And I understood that it's a vicious circle because since the move of the industry to emails, this is how business is done. People send emails, and you have to literally at least sit and then read them. And I understood that it's a vicious circle because the more managers I start hiring, the more emails there will be. So the more time they will spend doing this. And so I said, look, this is no way going to continue. I am going to change all that. And in 2014, actually, the idea started. And I have two partners, minority partners, but nevertheless, one is a very strong mathematical and economic scientist. So she's a PhD in economics, and she's a shipping professor in mathematical analysis, so to say. And even she didn't believe it's possible until finally AI was introduced by Google. So the kind of the machine learning and NLP, natural language processing, was introduced by Google. And with that, it literally became technically possible to at least start doing, because before we started in 2016, so the start was in 2016, there were a lot of attempts in Germany, in Korea, in Japan, in anywhere, and in Greece, to try and build something similar. And AXS was also like the first platform that appeared, and even they didn't succeed in cracking it to that extent, because you had to literally sit and teach the computer with many phrases, standard phrases, how to decrypt emails, which is not eventually not possible. So you're going in, it seems like you're going in the right direction, but it's the wrong direction. It's like building a house without the strong base. You're building walls. You may build the roof, but at the end, it's not a house. It's going to fall. And so and we had these. If you have more questions before my presentation starts, let me know, because I'm afraid to go into the presentation, which explains many things as well.
Okay.
This was the start. Yeah.
Yeah. The question, just because I think that. The digital process make really the difference when they start as happened to you. You found the problem, and you looked for a solution to what was a nightmare in your work, and this is very interesting. I let some of the question after the presentation, okay, because, for example, the artificial intelligence, machine learning thing is something we are working on. For example, my company, we have a project with university here in Rome, doing this, and we started the same thing, a problem that we had in our work, in our daily work. And now there are the possibilities to automatize it, this kind of work, and it's very, very interesting. I think these are the solutions that really can make a change. So Alexander, if probably it's better you start explaining all of us the things. I would like to say to the people that is following the webinar that they can intervene. You know, it's not exactly a university class.
It's not. I wanted to make it. It's not going to be that much about the presentation of SHIPNEXT, but just to give you the insight at how the transportation industry is evolving, the mistakes you should try and avoid based on my experience. You can ask me anything you like on that as well, because I think it's nice to hear of all the success stories, but I went the hard way, unfortunately. And, I can also share a lot of my opinion, because there are many attempts to do something internally. Shipping is so international. There are 200 countries involved in transportation by sea at least alone. And every company, depending on its size, is also trying to invest into digital solutions, be it for accounting or for transport or for documentation. And I can share a lot of my experience, if you like, or briefly, and in order to help you avoid the mistakes of this industry, because this is not transport industry. We are talking about the digital industry, the IT industry, so to say. Okay. So let me start.
Please.
SHIPNEXT is a shipping platform and not a shipping marketplace. But before I talk about SHIPNEXT, I would like to tell you a little bit about all the delusions. So means things that people misunderstand or do not understand correctly, and that's where they make a lot of mistakes in their work today. So and it's all shipping and transport related. So a lot of people they confuse between shipping industry, logistics industry, maritime industry, shipbuilding industry. They say transport industry. There are so many industries, but in fact, this is a stem to a lot of mistakes. So actually, there is no shipping industry. There is a transport industry, and shipping competes with all other modes of transport, which is very, very important. Shipping is not an island. It's not isolated from all the other modes of transport, rail, truck, pipe transport, or air. It's just a little segment. It's a segment of the industry, the transport industry. And there is a shipbuilding industry. And the shipbuilding industry, that's where all the innovations in green tech, in engines, in ship hull design and crewing and technical management and all that, that's shipbuilding industry. So in shipping, as such, the maritime transport, there are two different industries. But people, because they mix it, they fall into ridiculous situations which drive them away from their focus. And the second point about this is that a ship owner has to be a carrier, or a carrier has to be a ship owner. This is totally incorrect, because when you own assets, trucks, for example, or ships, for example, your business model, your economic model is totally different from that of a carrier. When you're a carrier, your earnings, your income is in the service. And the cost of ship hire, rent of all the trucks and so on is your cost. So you want to always minimize this cost. When you're an owner of these assets, unless you really have this perfect mix in the company, when you have like 10 trucks or 10 ships you own, 10 you hire, and then the others you just broker or relet. When you just focus on your 10 ships and you just do that, you probably should, or 10 trucks, for example, you probably should not focus on being a carrier, because you are trying to mix the two roles under one roof, and you always lose the race. And we've seen many owners or ship owners in the last 12 years go bankrupt. And it's because of that. So no matter how many trucks or ships you own, you cannot cover the whole world. And also you cannot stay isolated in one particular basin, in one particular sea. You need to be open-minded. And when you are an owner of assets, you should always try to earn more on the assets, which is a totally different strategy from that of a carrier. Very important to note before we go into the presentation of SHIPNEXT. Container is a cargo. That's also, that is dramatic for many startups, for many shipping and transport startups as well. So a lot of them have said, okay, I want to digitalize, I want a digital platform. So what's easiest to digitalize? Oh, a standard container. So let's build something for containers. It's very short-sighted, and a lot of them are now thinking of ways how to rebuild their solution, because when you start building something with the wrong understanding of how things work, it's going to backfire once you know, in a lifetime. So container is just a way of packaging cargo. Yeah, it's not a cargo, unless it's an empty container, then it's a cargo. But container is just one way of packaging things. Cargos are cargos, and then therefore there are no red lines in unless this is like tanker or liquid cargo and then break bulk and dry bulk cargo. Otherwise, there are no red lines. So when you talk about shipping or maritime freight, you have to be open-minded to any type of a ship which can be best matching your cargo delivery. And I can share a lot of examples from my Varamar career, you know, or SHIPNEXT career. We had the last funny situation was when we were working with a huge broker house, and they are our partners. 2 years ago, they said, Alexander, look, delete all the bloody containers from the platform. We don't want, we only deal with Panamax and Cape ships. You know, we don't want to even see the word container. I said, look, guys, I cannot just delete it. You know, you can do a search, you know, which does not involve containers, but you cannot, you know, we cannot delete a word. You know, you will receive emails, so you know people write to you with, you know, but you cannot delete it. And then a year ago, when you remember, Panamax vessels started carrying, you know, containers, and Cape vessels were chartered for containers. You know, the whole industry changed, and that shows you how everyday shipping and everyday transport can totally change, and all the things that you thought were not possible suddenly become possible. Because at the end, because everybody in this room on this session, we are all carriers, and our role is to always find the optimal way of delivering the cargo. And it could be anything. It could be a barge, it could be a ship, it could be a truck, it could be a rail, you know, rail transport. It doesn't matter. And at the end, you know, cargo is the king, and container is just one way of moving cargo. Ship brokers will disappear. So they will, this is one more delusion. Ship brokers will not disappear. The ship brokers are professionals. As internet appeared, and we all thought internet would kill brokers, there has been more and more trade. More trading firms around the world appear. They understood that finding trade partners is easy, buying and selling stuff is easy. Suddenly there was an explosion of demand for ship brokers, and for us ship brokers, and for me as a founder of Varamar, or for me as a founder of SHIPNEXT, ship brokers are specialized, very highly qualified transport professionals. They can be focused on ships, they could be focused on barges, they could be focused on you know, all kinds of maritime transport, but also they could be specialized in just logistics. But at the end, they're all brokers. They can be in-house. They can be working for larger companies that have money to hire them. Those companies, those brokers for these larger companies, then are called shipping managers, logistics managers, transport managers. But they also can work with outside brokers. It's similar to how legal industry works. So in the legal industry, you have in-house lawyers working with outside lawyers, with you know, independent lawyers. And then in companies like smaller companies that cannot afford one broker in-house, they work with forwarding firms or shipping or shipping brokers outside. And this is the whole industry is so diverse. But at the end, it's down to brokers, down to these specialized traders in the industry to the business. So they will not disappear. There will be tools to help them be efficient, but at the end, they will do the work. And the more open the world is, the cheaper it is to deliver goods. That's the key thing. The cheaper it is to deliver goods, the more there will be international trade. the more costly the delivery will become, the less international trade there will be. Emails is spam. So that's also one delusion which you have probably yourself experienced when you start receiving thousands of emails, and then you say, look, let me delete all that and then move to another email address and start from scratch. We've seen many companies doing that. But this is totally wrong, because at the end, it's like you are deleting the whole history of your company development. All those emails, they contain very important commercial information. Maybe less relevant now or more relevant in the future, or on case-to-case basis. But it's not. It doesn't mean that it's all spam. It's all scrap. I remember when I just started my career in shipping, I contacted a forwarder, very narrow-minded guy, and he said, look, Alexander, we only move containers, full stop. We only move containers. Stop bothering me. Stop bothering me, 2 months later, the same guy contacted me and said, you know what? I have a client, and he wants me to move a cargo, but it doesn't fit into a container. Can you help me? Oh, I wanted to tell him, stop bothering me at that moment. But you have to, but it's probably shows you that, all the emails that you collect, it's relevant information that you have to manage. And that becomes a problem, which I will just address in a moment. And finally, artificial intelligence is a thing of the future. Many people say, okay, our AI, what is it? Actually, it's nothing. It's a bunch of algorithms and or maybe just a kind of a formula to teach something. Yes and no. Well, so first of all, artificial intelligence is not something that doesn't exist, or many people still think so. You can feel it in Google or Gmail, for example. Who are very advanced in this. They sometimes, if you use Gmail, you can see that the computer finishes your sentence for you or suggests how to finish a sentence. It learns from you. It helps you automate things. But imagine a little apprentice or a guy from university or a lady from university coming to your company. With no knowledge of shipping and transport. You start teaching them. You should start saying, okay, this is this cargo. These are all the ports. These are the ships they usually, and here we take this and here we take that, and this is what we do, and then we add all that together. So what you're doing, in fact, is you're teaching all these little rules to a new beginner, and this beginner starts to learn. The same way you can teach a computer. It doesn't mean that it's going to replace a human being, because at the end, the human being is there for creativity, to take decisions based on political grounds, on economic grounds, on maybe personal grounds or commercial grounds. But at the end, all the information he needs to take those decisions should be accessible instantly. So this is one of the things that they taught me in university is, Alexander, you can never learn everything. The university teaches you how to quickly find that information. And so artificial intelligence helps connect ultimately all the information you wanted to process, learn, and then help you take decisions. So how does this process, why is it called artificial intelligence? Just like with a human being, okay, you teach him today, tomorrow, and three days after, he's just going to follow the rules that you are taking, that you taught him to take. A year after, he still tries to follow all the rules. But in 2 years, when he sees all the mistakes, all the situations that have happened in each particular case that he takes that decision, he starts to include his creativity. And that's what artificial intelligence looks like, so it's knowledge plus time gap, plus this time frame that passes. And this is how this timeline actually has evolved over the years in shipping and transport. So you had letters, telegraph, came letter, telex, and fax. Some of us probably still remember that. I started my career when my boss in Belgium still follow telex and fax actually. And then later CompuServe, that was a very fractional technology. Then later Lotus. Actually in Varamar, we still used Lotus until a certain moment when we switched to Gmail. And then finally, electronic email was very heavily used in the 90s. And ever since, actually, there hasn't been no transition. So with electronic email, coming in the 90s, we are still all around, doing communication by email. In fact, 80% of transportation industry still uses Outlook. 80%. They don't use Gmail, they don't use Sedna or any other email solutions. They use Outlook, 80%. And that means that the whole industry, particularly transport industry, because other industries, they already switched. The traders in commodity, they use WhatsApp and, they don't really need to send so many things by email anymore. They have these Bloomberg terminal things. So transport industry is the main, and that's where all our information sits, in the emails. And even with the introduction of chats, that still didn't change the industry. Okay, that means your managers, all of you, you have to deal with much more data. So you had emails to deal with, also websites. Now you have more platforms because you have clients that introduced tender platforms. You have also chat programs, and you have multiple. Yeah, so you have, I don't know, WhatsApp. You probably have Signal and Telegram, and and LinkedIn, and so you're distracted, and there's more and more and more information. Okay, but that's one part of the problem. But imagine you are a owner of the firm. So what happens is, in one office you have many managers that also are distracted, and they also collect all this information, and they have to deal with that information internally, and then they leave. So what happens is, all the data that your company is accumulating and paying for just gets lost. So they manage all those emails, they help you, they keep it in their head, and then they leave. And that's the tragedy of every company, vicious circle, so to say, that all of that information is not accumulated and nobody learns from it. So we decided to change all that. So we patented the transition, and literally, so we took the courage to patent the whole transition of the whole industry in China, Japan, Korea, Singapore, Europe, and we are waiting for American patent. Transition of the industry from emails onto a platform. And that's particularly for email processing, freight matching, and freight negotiations. And that's our role. Of course, we couldn't do that without AI, without the process of decrypting emails. We couldn't do that without building a platform to interconnect all this data, all this data that you see on the screen and more, right? So that was our role in 2016. It was very challenging because most of the people that I knew back then, they were laughing. They said, Alexander, come on, you're concentrate on Varamar. What the hell are you doing? Come on. And it was very challenging. Of course, we've passed that. We have many customers worldwide already. But of course, there is still a lot to be done. So platforms, what are these, right? So you heard many things, and that's where all of us are confused. Even me. And I dedicate a lot of time studying, all of these platforms, the trends. These on the screen are by far not all of them. Even yesterday, I learned one more, and I want to share it with you because I think that's where a lot of the forwarding companies are going to as well. So I start from this. So email processing. There are email processing solutions, but they are not a marketplace. They're not a freight matching. They're not a freight negotiations platform. So they're just email processing solutions. And there are a few. there are marketplaces and platforms, but they're mainly for either technical or containerized cargo. So like, for example, Vason, it's a platform, but it's more for operations. NetPass is email processing, and they have they're also a platform for maritime transport, but not really a kind of a marketplace for freight negotiations, nothing like that. Then there are solutions for different brokers, like Sea Life, who launched a solution for their brokering firm and try to be global. And then there are container like Sea Rates and Freightos, probably a few more that are trying to concentrate only on containers, but they do not. None of them has email processing, well, except maybe for NetPass. But nevertheless, they are rather platforms, but they're missing this email processing. And why is it so crucial? Because again, there is a gap. You cannot switch in one day from reading emails and working with emails to a platform where you have to suddenly stop using emails and work only on the platform. So again, there is this missing link. And also, you cannot get that real-time data from your emails. So you have to do a lot of typing, and that usually is a very time-consuming task. So there are also freight tenders. We've probably seen a few, but SAP Ariba is one of the leaders in this. There's also freight tender and all that, and probably you know a bit more. Again, they do not do email processing, and they are not really all shipping minded, but they do a certain part of the job by trying to be a tender platform. And then finally, there are digital forwarders. So here I would like to probably stop a bit explaining what, again, digital forwarders who say they're digital forwarders, but nowadays they actually try to be a platform. And why is that? Why did they not succeed to be a digital forwarder? Because when you try to be a digital forwarder, you either have to specify what exactly do you do, because otherwise people expect that you can do anything, right? So when I call a forwarder and say, look guys, today I want to ship a truck full of stuff to Italy, and tomorrow I want to move a dismantled factory, and the day after 5,000 tons of steel, you know, and a forwarder usually can do it, unless he says, look, I don't have time for this because I have better paying business. But when you go to a digital forwarder, you expect that the platform doesn't care, you know, and it has to give you a solution straight away for anything you ask. And this is where they went wrong. So a lot of companies ask, like, what is it? How is it different from DHL? Because if you go on a DHL platform, you ask for a freight and you get an instant response, instant quotation. Because we all know that for parceling, DHL is a kind of a digital platform where you can order and get the service straight away and get the pricing straight away. Well, when you just say I'm a digital forwarder and you don't provide this instant quotation, you cannot be that digital. And so it boils down to just having a platform where you help customers do their daily routine, you know, maybe manage their documents, and then be just a platform for that, or, you know, getting the data, or helping with cargo tracking, you know, which is one of the very popular things they all try to offer right now. But at the end, you're not a digital forwarder until you can provide instant quotation. And this is again a role of maybe a kind of an interconnectivity point, because we as a marketplace or as a platform, and because we process a global flow of emails, a growing flow of emails, our platform is capable of knowing, let's say, the index, or let's say today's cost of shipping a cargo, an average cost of shipping a cargo, no matter how big or complicated it is. Of course, we are teaching it, and it becomes very advanced, you know, and not only does it do it in seconds, but it grows its knowledge and understanding and experience in quotations, and it becomes super clever on giving you the benchmark. And it's up to a human to go and sell additional services on top: cargo clearance, handling, supervision, documentation, and whatever. So that's the role of a forwarder, to take the cost of delivery and add their service on top. And that's where ShipNext comes in as a platform that can provide you this benchmark, and you as a forwarder can get an instant understanding of the cost of transportation, plus all your sales techniques, all your experience, all your relationship with the customer, all the problem solving, documentation, supervision that you offer on top of the transportation cost. And that's why I believe the role of a forwarder and a broker is going to stay. It will be not only very strong, but it will also have a much broader and a more difficult task of being faster, better, more flexible, and more alert, or more capable of responding instantly to any request the customer has. And that's where the digital technology steps in. And okay, so here's finally a few slides on ShipNext. So what do we offer up to now? Yeah, so what is a ShipNext? So when we first started using the word marketplace, it was probably one of the things that I still will return to, but many misunderstand what is a marketplace. So I'll give you a few examples. We all know Booking.com, but we all think that this is going to kill travel agents. And I can tell you, no, it's not. And this is a good example for all of us to always rely upon. In the group, we also have a travel agent. And I can always book my hotel and flight on Booking.com, but I usually don't do that, because it's nice when everything goes smooth, but I'm a very frequent traveler. And I know that it may take me sometimes, up to an hour to find or half an hour to at least find the best schedule. But I have other things to do in this hour. So I would usually turn to an agent. They would book me the flight. I would pay these 20, 30 euro on top, maybe 50 euro, but I would not spend this hour. And I would certainly know that if something goes wrong, I can solve my problem in a second. And that's what I usually love doing. So if something goes wrong, if I have a canceled flight, if I'm late, if there is a connection problem, I just make one call and my whole problem disappears. And this is what I pay for. And so Booking.com is also a B2B platform, because I know that travel agents, they also work with B2B, with Booking.com. And so this is the role of platforms today, and this is how we have to look at this whole process. So we, as carriers, and I'm taking here your hat, we all need an access to data as soon as quickly as possible. We need to know where the ships are, what has the ship been doing, where is the truck, what is the cost, what is the weather, what is the and you have to manage all your incoming requests, and you have to make sure that the team you have responds to those requests, make sure that they have the access to data that you have, and at the end you want this platform to have this kind of an insight at all this data. But it doesn't mean that your cargo is or I usually like to say, it doesn't mean that you strip your pants and go naked in front of everybody. No, you don't have to look at it as a marketplace that you display everything. Just like on Booking.com, not everybody sees what the hell you're booking. Same on ShipNext. It's also a marketplace in that sense, and nobody knows what you're booking, but you can display your asset, or you can display your demand, and you may choose not to display your demand, and there are options not to do that. But at the end, unless you have a marketplace or a platform that connects all these points in international transport, you cannot trust that it has enough knowledge to provide you with that data. And this is why the concept of a marketplace is so important. But the reason why we use platform is to help you understand that we also, and this is where ALN and EPN network are so important, is because of the role of a forwarder. And so today you guys, and here I would also like to hear maybe your insight and questions on this. I feel that the reason why you join networks is because you feel that you have to compete to larger forwarders like DHL, for example, or Kühne + Nagel, or Maersk, because Maersk is also mixing those roles of being a carrier and an asset owner. And the joining a group like this, you're somewhere in between being independent, but also maybe not taking a whole use of being together, of your network, because all the data that you guys have at the moment, I'm almost sure of it, you isolate to yourself, which is okay, which is reasonable. But imagine and you have to always question yourself, so what's next? Like, what's life going to be for our network, or for all of us in the network, or how can we use our experience on the ground in all those countries where I want to provide solution to my customer? I will share with you a few examples from my Varamar, let's say, experience. Varamar has offices in 10 countries, and there are Italian market, for example, is one good example where Varamar has agents, booking agents, and yet it also has an office. But it doesn't mean that we work directly with clients, because at the end, especially now, like never before, it's very important to also to have the relationship with the customer and provide the customer with all those additional services that he needs that you cannot provide. And this is why, your role in the network, in the ALN network as forwarders, is exactly that. You are locally present, you talk to your customers, or you can do the job. But at the end, you have to know, you have to keep the relationship with your customer, or you have to have this presence on the ground. And that perfect mix should be more and more shared on somewhere within your network. That's my understanding. And this is why I asked Marcello also in the beginning, like, how do you communicate? And he said, by WhatsApp. And so that's a first step into the process of uniting somehow on a platform, which is WhatsApp at the moment. Maybe next step will be Teams, where you can also share some documents, and because actually Skype and Outlook are going to disappear very soon. So ShipNext became a Microsoft partner, and Microsoft sees ShipNext as, because we patented the transition, as that next step for the transport industry. And for Microsoft, it's all about data. They don't care. Actually, they don't care where you sit. They don't care even if you will miss Outlook. They only charge for the data, cloud data. So they want us, and maybe other platforms, I do not know what they do also with other platforms, but at the end, we collect the users and we pay them as one point of entry for the cloud data. Whereas you guys get all the services that you got from Outlook and maybe other platforms through us in little fractions, and so you pay a little fee, all of you, and we will have to take all that money to Microsoft, paying for the cloud storage on Microsoft. That's what they are interested in. And so they will stop with Outlook, they will stop with Skype, and in 2-3 years, well, that's the information we have at the moment. They plan to move everybody on Teams, which is a growing trend. So on Teams you have chat. On Teams you have all the applications like Excel, Word, and PowerPoint and others. And basically, that's one window that you will be using. So we are trying to build a platform that gives you this one-stop, one point of access to all the data that you need, and hence this split screen design, because we do not know who you are, how you come to us, and what you plan to do. So the products that we offer are the trading desk. And again, when you talk about a split screen, and when you're a user, you should feel comfortable using it no matter what do you do today. Are you a carrier, or you have cargo to carry? Or and are you a broker, or you're a ship owner that wants to carry something? Or you're a trader, and some traders have their own ships, as you know. So we decided to do it this way because you decide what you want to see where, on the left or on the right-hand side, and what mixture you want to have. And this will be the trend going forward. And especially when you know how in companies, they have these 2 or 3 screens on their table. Again, this should be simplified, and we decided to make it a split screen because at the end, you take your laptop, and we say that, we feel, I know, that very soon you will be able to do much more from your laptop, and even more from your telephone, than you do now from your office with 2 or 3 screens in front of you. And so on the trading desk, you have an incoming flow of cargoes, requests, ships. On the other hand side, no trucks yet, but at least for now, we do port to port. And this is also importantly a freight matching solution. So you click on the cargo you want to ship, and you indeed see a short list of ships that can carry your cargo. And as SHIPNEXT, as the algorithm advances, it helps you reduce this list of 20 ships to 10, or maybe at the end 2 or 3 or 4 that definitely are the best to carry this cargo. But there's more and more data that SHIPNEXT needs to learn before that decision will be that perfect. And yeah, so freight negotiations is part of it. Freight tendering is another. So while showing you all these solutions, I want you to think on why are we also a platform? A platform means that you can connect to it, use it in the way you want to use it. And here you can either think of your own strategy if you're a medium-sized firm, and you even have your in-house developers, or you can think of it in a form of a strategy for ALN. Because all of you collectively can use whatever we built and build a white label solution. And this was what we have done. We have done this for a couple of companies that say, okay, we use whatever you've invested in and built so far. That means we do not have to reinvent anything. We just use all that, and we build something for ourselves as an extra feature that you don't have. And we want to keep it for ourselves. Can we do that? Yes, you can. And this is why we are not just a marketplace, but we are also a platform. So that's how we go forward. And so, yeah, the second solution helps you with monitoring cargo. So you can, not only manage quotations and see what you have quoted, what your other colleagues have quoted. You can send reminders, but you can also see the insight on how many requests you received globally, or in every particular cargo segment, or on every particular route, and how many quotations were given. One of our customers is a tanker company, and believe it or no, but they had one person in-house sitting just doing this manually. So he was calculating by hand all the quotations or requests they received, and he was calculating all the quotations they sent each day. Come on, that's definitely something that today people should not be doing, and this is what we just automated, and that's one of the examples of how we can help you. So automating CRM, and this is what we are now working on, interconnectivity with the CRM product, because to some extent we can automate CRM, but we are not going to go down the road where we will be a CRM platform. No, but we will have a contact book with some understanding of how many requests came from this particular client, when is the last one you received from him, and that can help you track, like part of the CRM activity. But so far, because we decrypt all the emails, we help you get all the information from a cargo, from a request, no matter how complicated it's written, quote on it, track all the quotations you've made, lead it to the booking, and then cargo tracking. So this monitor, which you see on this, it's a separate solution that we created for 2 of our customers. It has to be customized, but it's a tracking solution. It's more like a supply chain management solution. Fleet monitor. This is a tool. It's not an operational solution, at least not yet. It's a solution that helps you track all the vessels in the world to independently search by different criteria to see whether they're sanctioned or not, where they're loaded, where they're going to find spot ships with empty space to see whether they're going in ballast or laden, and where. So literally full information you need about the ship, including their dimensions, documents, availability of cranes, and so on and so on, and speed and consumption. Exchange, this is our email solution. So this is something for the industry. You can, instead of going from one email to another and scrapping an email with all the spam, here you can just switch off the categories of emails you don't want to see. So for example, you don't want to see positions, you don't want to see vessels which are for sale, you don't want to see any, for example, operational emails, you want to just see the new requests, you can do that. And you can tag your colleagues and so on. And you have the freight calculators. This is probably for some of you who are not in container business, more in bulk projects, heavy on oversized cargo, but we have this calculator. And then, by the way, one of the unique things about it is that it has all the information. So one of the problems before was having port costs, finding port costs. So you have to write to an agent, hey, how much would it cost for my ship to enter this port? We have all that. So you don't need to look for it. You have all the bunker prices, speed and consumption figures. So if you're working on a sole cargo, you can even see what the owner is earning on you. You have documents, so you can store all your contracts, your booking notes, your bills of lading, your and manage them. And that's an interesting feature because you can store the terms and conditions and then reuse them next time you quote to a customer. So that helps you, create a very nice quotation using ShipNext with all the terms and conditions that you had with this customer in your previous contract. And the port data. And here, because this is the last slide, I would like you to look at this as also a kind of a connectivity point with yourselves, because the way we grow, it's not something we sell. Our port solution is free of charge to everyone. I would suggest that all of you also use it to promote yourselves, because we have agents and forwarders that register themselves in these ports, and all our multiple thousands of users using ShipNext every day, they search for information and they look for companies that are present in those ports to get customized support, so to get some support in those ports. And this is something that we also promote as one of our industry solutions. Some of the solutions that we have are free of charge, and as I probably stop, I would like to just, and as you have questions, maybe Marcello will help me, or somebody will help me read them. I will go to the live demo of ShipNext, and then so some of the solutions that we have on ShipNext are free of charge. But some are still accessible to paid users. So indeed, our proposition is to have this information accessible to APN ALN members free of charge for a year. I really hope that we can help you guys to understand what's available now, how transparent the market becomes, and also to help you collectively find a way how you progress. Because for me as a founder of Varamar, or for me as a founder of ShipNext, it's super important, and this is probably my closing remarks, it's super important to support small and medium-sized businesses in the industry. I will not win, and you will not win from another extreme where, for example, all cargo is handled by one or two or three carriers. You know, like with courier service, you all know, okay, FedEx, DHL, what else, you know, UPS, right? This should not happen in cargo transportation. And this is why our attempt is focusing on professionals. We try to copy the legal industry, where it's all about you as a professional that either has super contacts with your customer or has super knowledge that others will turn to solve their daily task. You can be a company, like a legal firm can be a group of super qualified legal assistants or lawyers or legal consultants, but you can also be independent. And my main aim is to help small and medium-sized companies save their bread and butter, to be very strong, efficient, and have access to this. Because at the end, you should have access to this to be efficient and successful every day. So now, if you can, maybe read the questions, I would be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Alexander. Thank you very much. It was very, very interesting and in-depth analysis of your work. I have two questions for you, but later probably. Mm-hmm. I think, Marcello, the best thing, is that you and the people that is following have questions to pose directly to Alexander. Please don't be shy, all of you, and use this occasion, because I will start with the two questions that I had. Mm-hmm. Probably the first thing is about the costs of SHIPNEXT. If I understand well, you told that there is 1 year free of charge for the ALN network members. Yeah. And I think it's a great occasion for trying this kind of platform, no? And trying and see if it works for the work that everybody has to do. So this is a great occasion. But which are the costs? If for example, how is organized? Okay.
So at the moment, and this may change, not become more expensive, but it may be changed because we may find another business model. Hello? Do you hear me well?
I'm hearing you. Yeah.
Okay. So at the moment, it's $1,000, roughly, just under $1,000 per user per year. But if you start using, so it's about, I don't know, maybe what, $50 roughly per month per user for everything, including your email flow and all that, and also all the data that you can find on all the platform. But if you start using it as a white label, as a customized solution, call it, and in those cases, it's like with EPN. I will show you. Again, the data remains my data, but I can choose to use a different kind of a logo, right? So this is how we, this is how we approach the industry. So it's my data, but I choose to have a different logo, and this is why I have it here, because at the end my access to SHIPNEXT remains the same, and this is why I manage my own data. But look at it from this side, that if you have this white label solution, you can decide to follow your path, and for example have your business model there, which is okay for us. And then we find another way of, because we still accept partners and we still grow. We don't look at it as we are somewhere under break even at the moment, right? So, and it's not my my kind of profit-making tool yet, but we still welcome all kinds of suggestions to change the business model as well. And investors ask me, Alexander, why don't you make it completely free of charge? Maybe someday we will. At the moment, we feel like we are still ahead of other solutions in what we do, and at the moment we still need to pay our bills, and so at the moment it's still $1,000. But we also welcome your suggestions if it's collective. If it's one company, small company coming to us, we may probably not change the model. But if we have, let's say, collectively ALN coming to us with a proposal like, okay, Alexander, let's do that, and let's launch an ALN platform, we can always discuss. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it's great. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's a work in progress.
And this is why we agreed to give ALN free membership, but we would not agree to give it to some small or medium-sized individual users, because it's a win-win. I understand that all of your members get to use it collectively, so it saves us from doing all the marketing and an individual approach, but we also feel like you are the perfect audience and you already grouped together. Now we need you to see how a network of companies will coexist with one another in a couple of years down the line.
Yeah, for you, also the feedback of professionals of this kind, it's very, very important, because you are working on this kind of
There was a question about containers. Yeah, there was also a question about containers. So indeed, where we reached with ShipNext is we can already calculate for every incoming cargo. So all these cargos in this stream are my cargos. If I'm a trader, or if I'm a shipper, or if I'm a forwarder trying to ship something. I have a received cargo, so these cargos come from my inbox, from my emails, or Skype, or WhatsApp, or business WhatsApp, and so on, of my team, for example. And there is market cargo. These are all the cargos and requests that are sent by our users to fix@shipnext.com internationally. And if I post a cargo, I can make sure that only I see it. And therefore I create the whitelist, and I put, let's say, only myself in the whitelist. And that's how I will make sure that only I see what I post on ShipNext. Here I can also manage all my managers and so on. And they have tags. And so, I can also automate a lot of things. But at the end, my aim is to drag everybody on this trading desk, where you see all the cargos that come in. You can see the email, how they were received, and then and then match them to the ships. And on the other hand are all the ships data that is there, with even some insights on how much they cost per day, and all the brokers that circulate this vessel, and with my access to all these emails, how they were received, but it's all from the trading desk. And at the moment, yes, it works as a break bulk, dry bulk, heavy and oversized cargo platform, in the sense that we do not yet match it to for everyone. I'm talking about everyone now, to your individual container rates, but it's possible. So every cargo that comes in, we have a calculator that calculates if at all this cargo can be containerized, and then we match this piece of information to the freight of a container line. But those container line freights, as far as I understand, are more or less accessible now, but they are in some cases individual. And this is why we did not yet connect it to, although we have talks with Maersk and CMA-CGM and MSC, to connect their quotation platform to ours. We still didn't openly launch it to everyone yet. Any more questions?
That's great.
There is a request in the chat from a well-made Champion Logistics. ALN member representing Nigeria that ask how do we get the soft copy? I think about the presentation that you show us. You can share.
I can send it. I can send it.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Thank you. There are any other questions?
Alexander, I have another one for you. And how many users, you told something during your presentation, how many users SHIPNEXT has?
So we have 470 companies that pay, like professionally use, with many more users. So one of the largest one is we have a company with 105 users in it, but collectively we have over 3,000 users that use SHIPNEXT daily. So we see the statistics. Google allows us to see which countries use it, and it's totally global. And every day we have about 3,000 users using SHIPNEXT globally, and this number is growing. So we have picked up a lot since we launched the email service. We launched the exchange in July, and that was the final bit. And we hired a sales lady who helps us. So we are also evolving, and we are always becoming better. We are of course the advantage is that SHIPNEXT never forgets. So as I speak, every second, every minute, and every day, 24/7, it learns and it processes more and more and more data. So whatever we launch only makes us better. And this is why within the next couple of months, you will see more very nice new features coming out.
Thank you very much. I don't know if there is any other question from people following us. Marcello, would you like to come in?
Thank you. One more question from me, Alexander. If any of our members need explanation about how SHIPNEXT is working, they can find it on your website, or how they can get?
Yeah, we can send the manual. We will also send you some material about it. But it's not. Look, it's not rocket science. Yeah, everything is the way we try to make it is very super easy. What you have to bear in mind is that everything you enter here remains with you. So you can change the, as you start collecting these cargoes, you can change the, the statuses of all these cargoes, enter some information, comments, sharing it with your team. And at the end, all this information remains with you. But we will send you the manual, and we can help you. Learn how to use it more professionally.
That can be great. The webinar will be online because it's being recorded and will be available on our website. Also because many members from Mexico and USA from Brazil ask to say, sorry, it's too early for us, and please record it. We can add in the same page also the manual, or it's better they ask you?
I will send the manual by Monday, if possible. Yeah, we are just completing some last bits and pieces, some new things. So yeah, we will send it to you.
Perfect. Any other questions from our friends online?
They're shy, I think.
Yeah.
No, or probably everything.
It's good. Clear. It's good when everything is clear.
It's
but,
clear.
At the end, I'm sure that questions may appear, and look, I'm always open. You can find me everywhere on LinkedIn, and feel free to ask or discuss any other things you like. Yeah.
I think that we will try.
I want to say hello also to Josephine Draxdorf from EPN, Exclusive Product Network. As EPN, we started this partnership earlier in last month.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Josie.
Hi, everyone. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, perfectly. Okay, if no other question, we can thanks again.
Thank you, guys.
And so much, Alexander Varvarenko and Massimo Zaurrini.
Sorry, I also like to remember to our members that are interested to send an email to info@Africa Logistics Network @IT. So we can send to Anastasia, that's not wrong, mail address and name the person in charge that who want join ShipNext, and we will send the password and the username to sign in ShipNext platform.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to really like learn how to do it, you know, how to use it professionally to quote for different cargoes, to use it as a quotation platform, I'm sure Anastasia can do individual demos on really on case to case basis. I think it's more, you know, not to, because companies may have their own use cases and discuss some, you know, individual things. It's all possible like that. Okay.
Okay.
Very interesting. Thank you very much. So thank you to all of you, and have a nice day. Marcello,
thank you very much, everyone. All the best.
All the best.
Thank you very much.
All the best. Bye-bye.
Thanks for your time, Alexander.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Massimo.
Thank you to you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
And thanks to everybody.
Thank you.
Pier Francesco, Andrea, Leo.
Thank you.
Pauma, Wale, hi.
Thank you, Mansiama.
Hi.
Great twist for me. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks to everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.